All right. Welcome to another episode of Young Learning. Mr. Young, and we're going to talk about lesson 3. This is unit 2, lesson 3. We are going to talk about finding relationships. Basically, we're just looking at relationships here. You're going to have a lot of graphs. And those graphs are going to tell us something. Every graph is usually has a pattern in it. So that's what we're going to find. We're going to try and figure out what those patterns are going to be and how are we going to solve them and create an equation that will help us predict the future in some way, shape, or point. Okay. So a lot of this stuff is like real estate. A lot of this stuff is predicting weather forecasts and stuff like that. So let's get started. All right, first problem here is going to be, here's a table. Two quantities of x and y. So your x's are 1, 3, 5, 7. My y's are 0, 8, 24, and 48. We're seeing a pattern here, okay? We're going to see a pattern here, figuring out what those patterns are, okay? So the first question states that, what are some strategies you could use to find a relationship between X and Y? Brainstorm as many as possible. Well, we can always figure out stuff. It's asking you to think about ways that you can solve it. I'm not asking you to solve it yet. It's asking for thinking of ways to solve this thing. We can see if operations could be done X that can produce Y. So we can try and find how X makes Y. Okay. We're going to do as many as possible at this point. We're going to try and compare the X values to the Y values, see what the changes are. See what the changes from X to Y is. We can see a specific pattern, try and find a specific pattern. What else can we do? Finding a relationship. We can also plot or graph all the points and see the graph makes a relationship. Okay, so a lot of things that we can do here and everything like that. So we can try and find how X makes Y, see how it changes from X to Y is, try and find a specific pattern, stuff like that. So on, so on. There are plenty of other answers on there. Okay, so something about 400. Okay, we're going to look at something about 400. Describe in words how two quantities in each table are related. We are going to talk about how each table is going to be related. So let's take a look at the first thing. I can annotate here and everything like that. So let's take a look at the first problem right here. I am going to do black. Make sure that that's black right here. So we can take a look and see what happens here and everything like that. Oh, so we're going to take a look, see what happens. 0, 0, then 1, 400, 2.5 and 100, 6 and 24, 9 and 3600. Well, it looks like to me everything seems like we're going to do it based off of 400. So the first one is 1 and 400. So maybe one lap. So number of laps equals number of meters ran. So one lap is 400, which is one lap. One lap is about 400 meters. So let's see what two laps is. Well, two laps is technically 800, and then half of that is 200, so that's 1,000. So we're looking at every lap you get another 400 times. So another 400 every time. So it looks like we're just doing 1 times 400, 2.5 times 400, which I think it is, right? You know, so it looks like 2.5 times 400 gives me 1,000. Also, here's 6 times 400 will give me that if I plug it into the calculator. And then this times 400 will give me this. So it looks like to me here that for table A, every lap is 400 meters, which means that you would take x and multiply it by 400. Okay. Well, all right. So that wasn't too bad. So like I said, we're looking at equations, trying to see how to write an equation at this point. So table B. Table B is 0 to 400, 75 to 325, 128 to 278, 319 to 81, and then 396 to 4. Well, these two, the first and last ones right here already. So this is about 400. Okay. So this right here is about 400. Well, this is 400. So the difference between these two is 400. Well, the difference between these two, well, when you add them together, if you add these together, that also gives me 400. Same thing with this one. Looks like if we do these, this gives me 0. Carry the 1, 0. So that's also 400. And 400 here. And of course, this one, these two added together gives me 400. So we know that x plus y should equal 400. So that's what we're going to write. It looks like to me the distance between x and y is about 400. Okay, the distance between home and school. So it basically looks like the meters from home. So if I draw this, meters from home, let's say you are here. Oops, let me grab a pen. So let's say you are here. You are that person right here. Okay, it's telling me that from you to home is x, and then you to school, you to school is y. So if you go from x to y, you get 400. So if you're at home, that means school is 400. So if you're 75 away from the house, then it means you're 325 to school. So the whole distance between home to school is about 400. So that means that we know that, which means that x and y will plus y will give me 400. Okay, pretty straightforward on this one. Let's move on to the next one. Electricity bill. Electricity bill is X dollars. Total expenses in dollars is this. So it looks like the electricity bill is $85, but then your entire bill for the month is $485. Well, that's about 400. Well, that means that this plus 400 will give me that. So we know we're going to add 400 to this. So if we add 400 to this, we get this answer. Do we get the same thing here? We do. So we add 400. That gives me 520. If we add 400 here, we get 709. And then we add 400 here, we get 1012. So it looks like to me that the total expenses can be found by adding 400 to the electricity bill. So the total expenses can be found by adding 400 to the electricity bill, which means it's x plus 400. Did not press x, did not press plus 400, just like that. Okay, next one, we have monthly salary in dollars, amount deposited in this. So this is where you become an adult. An adult is going to be looking at this, and I look at my paychecks all the time, and I'm just like, why is my bill so small? And I should be making a lot. But with taxes and everything like that, everything of that sort, you get deducted money and stuff like that, insurance, life insurance, all that stuff. Man, everyone wants to take a chunk of your paycheck. So I think this is what it's happening. So it looks like you have 827, and then in your bank account you get 472. So your bank statement, so not your bank statement, I'm sorry, your check statement or your bill, whatever they give you, your salary check. So you get a deposit, you get a nice little slip. It says 872. You're like, woohoo! But then in your bank, they only put in 427, which means that this basically is taking money away from you based off of taxes. Same thing here. Looks like it's about 400. 9 to 5, 400, 400, 400. Looks like it's 400. So it looks like we are the amount deposited. The amount deposited is $400 less than monthly salary. Okay. Which means you are taking X and you're subtracting it by 400. Pretty straightforward. Let's see what else it wants us to do. Describe in words and the two equalities of each related statement. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It doesn't ask me why, but there is pretty much what it is. Everything is about 400, and it just depends on what it is. So let's take a look at each one. Table A, B, and C. So we said that table A is every lap is 400 meters. So which means that you are technically multiplying every time, because 0 times 4, 0 times 400 is 0. 1 times 400 is 400. 2.5 times 400 is 1,000. So we can say that 40 times X is Y, is equal to Y. B was which one? This one, between home and school. So when you add these up, it seems like when you add these up, you get 400 every single time. So it looks like it's going to be Y plus X. X plus Y is equal to 400. So X plus Y is equal to 400. The next one, part C, the electricity bill. It looks like you're taking 850 plus 400, and that'll give you Y. So it'll be this one, 400 plus X equals Y. And then obviously, last but not least, is every time you subtract 400, and that's what our equation is every time we do that. Very simple, very simplistic, nothing crazy about that. So we're just translating what X does to get Y. All right. This one you're going to do at home. You have to take care of every single number. It says express every number between 1 and 20 at least one way using exactly 4 fours. You did that on their first day of school. First day of school, you did that on your first day of school. I wasn't your teacher yet, but on your first day of school, we did that. And any operations, mathematical symbols, any mathematical symbols you can take. So we know we're going to do 1. I'm going to do the first one. 1 is equal to, and they already did it for you. We're going to do the division sign. 1 and 1. Oops. I have to do 4s, don't I? Not 1s. 4 and 4. Apply. 4 divided by 4 plus 4 minus 4. Now you got to do that for 2. I will do that for 2 with you guys. Let's spread these out. I like to spread them out and everything. I'm going to do 2 really quickly. You can use any mathematical symbol. In this case, I'm going to use that with a 4 on it. Apply. We're going to do it again. I'll make life really easy for myself. This one's pretty straightforward. Oops, not that. We're going to subtract the 2. All right, look at that. Easy. We're going to subtract the 2. Actually, we're going to add the 2 up. We're going to add the 2, and then we're going to take -4 and -4. Oh, that gives me too much. What do I need? Maybe a +4 here. Oh, look at that. Easy. This gives me 2. 2 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. And everything like that. So, all that stuff. Oh, that gives me 4. Darn. So that makes 4. So you got to go through 1 through 20. I did 1 and 4. You got to do 2. You got to do 3. And all that stuff, you know. And figure out how you're going to get there. How you're going to get 2. How you're going to get 3. How you're going to get 4. And all that stuff. All right. So I'm going to let you do that. This will be for your homework and everything like that. Let's move on. What are the relationships? Okay. We're going to talk about relationships here. We're going to talk about relationships, and then we're going to write an equation based off of it. What is the relationship between the base length and the height of these parallelograms? All right. Both measures in inches. We have 1. 1 becomes 48. 2 becomes 24. 3 becomes 16. 4 becomes 12. 6 becomes 8. So it looks like something's happening here. We have to do some operations. And I wonder what those operations are going to be. You know. So what do you see is happening? So I know that maybe 1 times 48 gives me this. But 2 times 48 does not give me that. So it's not a multiplication. We can't add because they're going down too quickly. So, you know, one of the things is we can say that as the height increases by 1. Oops. Not height. Just kidding. Length increases by 1. The height decreases. Well, we know it's not a steady amount, so it's not adding or subtracting. It's probably multiplying or dividing. We just did the multiplication, doesn't work. But how about if we divide? What's 48 divided by 1? 48. What's 24 divided by 2? What's 48 divided by 2? 24. What's 48 divided by 3? 16. What's 48 divided by 4? It's 12. And what's 48 divided by 6? It's 8. So it looks like you are taking 48 and dividing by the x value. No, so that makes it life and easy. So it looks like we are going to take this. I wouldn't say x value. I would say b value, because base is b, height is h. So we can write an equation. So the equation would be the height is equal to, let's do our division sign, and we say 48, 48 divided by b. And there you go. There's my value. Okay. Let's try the other one. Visitors to a carnival are invited to guess the number of beans in a jar. The person who guesses the correct number wins $300. Woohoo! $300. If multiple people guess correctly, the prize will be divided evenly among them. Ooh. So it's already telling you what to do. If more than one people, if more than one people get it right, you will divide the amount evenly. Well, it's $300. So that's the case right there. It's $300. So we want to build a relationship of that. So we know if we take a look at this, we know if one person wins, you get 300, right? If 2 people win, what do we get? We get $150 each. Okay? If 3 people win, then that means you get what? What's 3 people? If 3 people win, you get $100. If 4 people win, we get $60. Is it 60? I don't know. It's a decimal, so let's not do 4. Let's do 5. If 5 people win, we get about $60 each person. So it looks like we're taking the number. So it went from 300 to 150 to 100 to 60. So it looks like we're going to divide by 300. So the occasion, what relationship between the numbers of people who guess correctly and the amount of money each person will receive? Seems like would divide 300 by the number of people that won. Now remember, we're writing sentences here because it is asking you to explain what the relationship is between the two. So then that means that we can say that the amount or total is equal to, and then we know it's going to be a division sign. It's going to be 300 divided by the number of people. And there's my answer. The total amount is 300 divided by the number of people. And there we go. Easy peasy. Let's do this one. A half-gallon jug of milk can fill 8 cups, while 32 fluid ounces of milk can fill 4 cups. What is the relationship between number of gallons and ounces? If you get stuck, try creating a table. Well, we have a table. We can create tables. No, I think we're going to do 2 columns and we're going to do about 4 rows. Okay, let's create a column. Okay, well, we know there's half a gallon. So we know we did 0.5 of a gallon. Actually, let's do gallons here. And then we have to do, can I add more? Oh, look at that. We can add more. We're going to insert 1. So we're going to have 3 because we need cups. And then the last thing is we need ounces. Okay. So let's create this table. We know that this is half a cup. Half a gallon. Half a gallon is about 8 cups. Okay. Well, we don't know how many ounces there are, but we can figure stuff out and everything like that. We know that 4 cups of milk is 32 ounces. Well, we have 8 cups, so we know what 1 gallon is then. Okay. So we can kind of thoroughly figure out what's happening in everything of that sort. So if you have half a gallon is 8 cups, then what is 1 gallon? Well, that's 16 cups. Okay? That's 16 cups of fluids, of ounces. Well, let's move it over here. And then we can figure out the cups. So, but we know there's 4 cups and there are 32 ounces. So as you can see, we are kind of doing this correctly, or maybe not. We don't know. We don't know. But it looks like to me that every time it goes bigger. Oh, did I do something wrong? I did. Let's figure this out. Oh, we need 32 cups here, and then we need 4 cups of 4 ounces, right? Or is it the other way around? Just kidding. The other way around. 4 cups, and then we have 32 ounces. So that means we can kind of systematically figure out what it's going to be. Okay. So what can we do? How do we figure this out? I think we need to redo kind of this chart because I need 4 cups to be 32 ounces. So we're going to move all these numbers. 4, 32. I think that's probably why we're confusing ourselves, or I'm confusing myself. We don't know how many gallons there are, but there are 16 gallons right here. So there's 8. We don't know how many gallons. And then we know there are 16 in 1 gallon. There we go. So 4 is 32. That means we know for a fact that if there's 32 ounces in 4 cups, how many there's in 8 cups? Haha, figured it out. There are 64. Which means that, again, once we get to this one, we need to double this. So if the cups double and then you double it again, then that means this one's 128 ounces. Bada bing, bada boom. Finally figured it out. Look at that. So it says, what is the relationship between number of gallons gallons of ounces, from gallons and ounces. So it looks like to us that 120 ounces is 1 gallon. So that means that if we want to keep going to get 128 divided by 2, we have to divide. Or in this case, we're going to multiply every time. So half a gallon times 128 will give us 64. So in this case, we are taking, it looks like, the number of ounces is multiplied by how many gallons. I know this one was tough because you had to make a chart so that way you can fill it in. 4 cups, 8 cups, 6 cups, and 16 cups. We're just going to do our deduction, which means that we have ounces, or in this case, O, and that's going to be equal to 128 times the number of gallons. And there you go. There you have it. And so that's basically what it is. We are talking about relationships, finding the relationship between each graph, and then making an equation out of it, which we did several times. And it's just basically talking it through. I know it's difficult. You're going to have to do this on your own. It will take you some time. But, talking it through will get you to get the equation. This is not something that you are going to be quick about unless you practice. So what we learned is we are learning the relationship between two objects, and that's how every equation is going to be. And an equation is basically a relationship between two objects, basically either multiply, divide, add, or subtract. And so that's the summary of it. We're going to talk about the planes and everything, take a look at the chart. We fill out the chart and everything. So this one's 1,000 times 1,500. 3 times is 1,300, 5 is 1,000, and we find the relationship on this. Okay, so there you have it. That is the lesson 3. Don't forget to do your cool down and your practice problems. We'll have the practice problems as well. So until next time, I'll see you later.